So, Stephen, in Labor circles, now again, Trumpian politics and presentation doesn't work in a country like this for a whole collection of different reasons. However, electorates always reward decisiveness. They always reward decisiveness. And even if all of the elites say that you're heading in the wrong direction, well, there are plenty of examples we can all look at in history where the more decisive leader with a controversial plan ends up kicking ass over the person who wants to small target and sort of cuddle their way to power.
Look, I think there's some good points there. I mean, if there's anyone in Labor circles that thinks that Peter Dutton is unelectable, well, this week's string of polls that have come out should absolutely be cold, hard shivers running down their spines, if that's what they still think. Now, I think they're smart enough to realise that an argument about Dutton being unelectable is disappearing very, very fast. If it ever existed, it certainly doesn't exist today and for the next 6 months. So I think that they need to think long and hard about how they're going to focus this election. If they think they can do what Kamala did, just point at Trump and go, he's a really bad man, he's done lots of horrible things, and you shouldn't vote for him, it didn't make a difference. What Australians are concerned about is the cost of living. And so the Labor Party has put in place a range of measures. They clearly haven't cut through enough at this point. They've got to keep talking about them. They've got to do more between now and the election to ensure that they're seen to be doing something around cost of living and housing.
Stephen, they just think they can
focus on...
What are they focusing on? Misinformation bills.
Correct.
This is not what's concerning the Australian people.
Fiddling.
It concerns us because we know it's the wrong thing to do. But the point is that they're not concentrating on what needs to be done. You've got a treasurer who just fights with the governor of the Reserve Bank. I know your attitude to the Reserve Bank, but nonetheless, it doesn't cut through as being a government in charge of its own agenda. You've got a Prime Minister who every time he makes a mistake, this time they put him a plane to go to some conference in the Pacific Islands or, heaven forbid, off to COP when nobody important is going at all. So there is no direction about what is this government trying to do for the Australian people. Dutton is saying we're going to give you cheaper electricity, really, not like the promise that Albanese
in 2040.
Made,
in
but
2040.
One that will mean that the lights won't go out. We're looking at the ridiculous situation
in 2040
today where China is saying, you, Australia, have got to kick in $1.8 trillion a year to give to, including us, China, because we're a developing country.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole debate is nonsense. And yet the various sections of the community in Australia that are now starting to say, no, you can't destroy our farmlands. No, you've got no plan to. What happens to the windmills and the solar panels when they're 20 years old and they've got to be going to landfill? Who's going to pay for that? The important questions, plus cost of living, are just not being answered.